Holy smokes, guys. Have you seen this new 4K satellite imagery in the Smart Fishing Spots app? It is next level. It makes Google satellite maps look like a complete joke. I can't even use them anymore after seeing this. It's probably why some of these companies are charging hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get this same access to be able to see your fishing spots in this 4K level. It lets you see all kinds of new hidden areas, new potholes, new seagrass, new oyster bars, stuff that you would never ever see on a normal Google satellite map. The best news is with us, it's completely complimentary. It's completely free for our members. So if you're a current Insider member, go check this out. It's in the toggle area where you'll now be able to see a little place where you can see obviously oyster bars, seagrass, you've got Bing, Google, and now you've got this 4K imagery. And if you're not a member, what the heck are you waiting on? Someone to grab you by the hand and show you exactly where to find new fishing spots every single week, because that's what we do. Come and join us. It's saltstrong.com and the Insider Club. 35,000 plus members and new ones joining every single hour. See you inside.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds. We are back again. I got my friend Ryan Morie here, and we're at a retreat, if you will, in a little town called Arapica, Florida. It is raining, not like crazy, but it's definitely raining. So we're taking a break. We're enjoying this episode sponsored by Busch Light and Bud Light.
We wish, right?
Busch, yeah. And Bev, if you're watching this, we will take any and all sponsorship money and free beers. But I've watched you for a while. Obviously, we're big fans. You've come down here. You've entertained the heck out of us. It's interesting getting all these quote unquote YouTubers together and these content creators. And, a lot of them are like super introverted.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, it was funny around the table last night. You got 9 guys. And some of them, like, you can tell kind of like just, waiting to see who's going to talk first. And,
well, I was making fun of everyone because we're all on our phones for a second. I was like, oh, everyone's checking their YouTube analytics right now.
Checking our stats. Yeah. So tell me, like, dude, what's the whole backstory? I know you're in the military. Like, how did all this come about?
Okay. So I grew up fishing
You did?
in Southeast Florida. Jupiter, Florida is my hometown. Should I look at the camera? Should I look at you? What do you think?
You can look wherever you want.
Okay. Easy day.
Yeah.
And yeah, catching big snook. I really got into fishing, I would say, when I'm like 13, 14 years old. My dad would always take me fishing, right? But he wasn't a fisherman.
So you actually started off saltwater fishing?
Yes. So like as a 13, 14-year-old, then you can start to, search things on the internet. You can start to look around for things. So I really started getting into it and fell in love with it. Then around 15, I got introduced to fishing the pier. So I became like purely a pier rat, if you will. So anytime during the summer, anytime I wasn't working, anytime I could get my parents to drop me off at the pier, I was there.
Yeah.
And that's really where I actually started to learn and develop techniques and to develop my own confidence in like putting myself on fish. Fast forward a couple years past that, I go to college, attend the University of Florida for 4 years, fished hard throughout all that, and you start to see.
Where were you fishing when you were in Gainesville?
Oh, I wasn't.
Oh, you were not fishing?
No.
Okay.
So I would come home and, fish a little bit, saltwater here and there, run down to Sebastian Inlet, do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But it was always on breaks and stuff like that. I just never really was like a huge freshwater guy. Like I do a little pond bass fishing for fun here and there, but like saltwater was always like in my, my blood, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
And then graduate college, I had worked a couple internships and stuff like that. I had a degree in construction management. Oh. And I decided I really just didn't want to pursue that, that corporate job, for lack of a better term, right off the bat.
You never got a real job?
Did not. I had real job offers that I didn't accept.
Yes.
So I decided that I wanted a little bit more out of life. I decided I wanted to join the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So I started into a program in order to become a Marine Corps officer. And then upon graduation of college, I had 6 months in between that and leaving for officer candidate school. So in that time, my good friend of like 10 years now, but like a couple years at that point, his name's Victor Lubin. Yeah. Many people know him as Landshark Fishing. Yeah. I had been helping him make YouTube videos or, been in his YouTube videos and, been hearing about his journey. And he convinced me. He's like, hey man, you should start one of these YouTube channels. I can tell you really like being on camera. I can tell you like this thing. Just start.
And at this point, you'd never edited, you've never really done. Okay.
No, not at all. But there's, if you want to do something, you figure out a way to do it. Yeah. And that's just how it is. And I have people ask me all the time, like, well, I'm thinking about starting something. What are your tips? And the tip is you need to go start something.
Action.
Yeah, you need to take action. It's just, and I don't want to say like, you can't do it if you have that mentality, but typically the people that are asking that question, they're asking the wrong question and they need to reframe their mindset.
Yep, I love it.
They need to go out and make mistakes and learn and do. So yeah, started the YouTube channel, built it to like 3,000 subscribers, made some fun pier videos and things like that. At that time, I was known as Juno Ryan. That was like my nickname.
But that wasn't the name of the channel.
That was the name of the channel.
Oh, it was? Okay,
yep.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually officially changed it.
Yeah, that was my Instagram and YouTube name. That's what everyone knew me as. And then I left in June of 2017 to the United States Marine Corps and went off to officers candidate school, then to a place called the Basic School in Quantico, Virginia, Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And then I did my first duty station was in Okinawa, Japan. So I spent 2 years in Japan, did some awesome fishing over there.
They're hardcore, right?
Absolutely.
Like, next level, I've heard.
The tackle and like the analytical mindset of like the Japanese fishermen is very, very interesting. And it aligns with a lot of stuff that I like. So that was very cool for like the tackle junkie in me to see all that.
Yeah.
Made a handful of videos here and there, but being an active duty in the Marine Corps, you just don't have that much time. And obviously you're not gonna have that much time to fish.
But you were filming during that time.
Oh yeah, I could make a video here and there.
Okay.
So there is some documentation of those days, and I was definitely very clean shaven and a nice short haircut all the time.
Tell me what is that like?
Oh, being
I had long hair.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I was corporate and quit. And we're like, let's grow our hair out.
Yeah, no, you guys got the locks
we
going.
We burned our suits, and we have a video of us burning.
You burned them?
No, we have a video of us burning our suits. Yeah. Like, why not? Like,
yeah. I mean, that's pretty legendary.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. So you guys were like, oh, there's no going back after this.
We legitimately burned the bridges. Yes.
So after my time in Okinawa, Japan, COVID kind of hit, and I had the decision that I could stay in Japan or I could come back stateside. And there wasn't really many opportunities for me to leave base in Japan with the way the restrictions were. So I requested to go anywhere I could other than Japan at that point, because I just wanted to get out and fish, get out. I knew the restrictions were more lenient in stateside. So I got stationed at a place called Parris Island, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And Parris Island, South Carolina, as a Marine Corps officer, you're what's called a series commander. So I was responsible for around, we'll say 180-ish recruits at a time and right around a dozen drill instructors. And I probably worked more than I ever have in my entire life, probably like 60, 70 hours a week. That was a rough year. And that finished out my term on active duty. And pretty much I made the decision 2 years into my Marine Corps career that I didn't want to make it a full 20. I didn't want to do my full 20 and pursue the pension. I wanted a different track in life. Not that I didn't like being a Marine officer, not that I regret doing that by any means, but I decided that I didn't want to do it forever. I wanted to be able to settle down in Florida, pursue other things, maybe start a family and things like that. So I decided I want to move on from the Marine Corps. And, I had seen all these people that I knew or knew of build these giant YouTube channels. And I had a basic understanding of kind of what it took from, being my best friend, being Victor and everything like that. So I decided I'm jumping all in. I set a good amount of money aside during my Marine Corps career to kind of give me a way to just jump into this thing fully and just really pursue YouTube. So here we are about 13 months into full time, and it's been a wild year, I could say.
I love it. I like to hear some of the big takeaways, life lessons from Marine Corps. Because that for a lot of people is life changing in terms of discipline and work ethic and not being afraid of stuff. Because I've even watched you here. I mean, you're on the ball. Like it reminds me of someone like like a drill sergeant, but like, yeah, let's get this done. Here we go.
I appreciate that. I don't know.
It was a compliment.
Yeah. I don't know if I've changed all that much personally, to tell you the truth, because at least in my Marine Corps experience, if you were a disciplined person, the Marine Corps might make you a little bit more disciplined. But if you're an undisciplined person and you don't have that desire to get better, you're going to continue to be undisciplined. Like you're going to be as straight as an arrow at boot camp when everyone has control of you. Yeah. And when you get that free time, you can slack off, and that's why you get guys that get fat, they get, out of shape. They don't do well on their physical fitness tests. They don't show up on time for work. And those are the guys that don't get offered reenlistment.
Got it.
So a lot of that is on you. But I would say, to answer your question, some of my biggest takeaways are just leadership specific takeaways, right? And learning that managing personalities is an art, and managing people is a huge art form. And a lot of the times in life and, in working like in a large group of people, you may have people that are higher up than you, that you feel like you're smarter than, that you feel like you work harder than, and you still have to figure out respectful ways of communicating with them. And you have to figure out, for the people below you, you have to figure out ways of communicating with them that doesn't sound like you're talking down to them. And, you need to employ people within their own capabilities, understand what their limitations are, and understand that some people aren't going to care about your work as much as you care about it. And that's tough sometimes. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah. So, all right, let's fast forward back to today.
Okay.
You've got a channel on YouTube. Is that like if someone asks you in an elevator, all right, where do I go to follow you? Do you say YouTube, Instagram, TikTok? I know you're on all these things, or is there something else?
So if it's someone in an elevator, I'm assuming that they probably don't actually watch fishing YouTube videos. And they're like, where do I go to follow you? I'll probably just tell them to follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
And that's just because the nuances of YouTube. I don't want someone subscribing that's not going to watch the videos in the first place. And it's just a waste of time. And I tell them not to worry about that.
Because I think a lot of younger people get in and like, oh, it's all about the subs. I got to get the subs. So why did you say that?
So if I go around and like go door to door, I could probably get 10 people to subscribe to my channel. I may take 100 houses, right? But I could get 10 subscribers. Yeah. Not one of those people are going to watch my videos. So if we take that on a bigger scale, right? If we go out and try and get a bunch of subscribers that don't care about us, what are they worth to you? And for a YouTuber, right? The way you make money, at least directly from YouTube, is through Google AdSense. Yep. And you're actually making money per view. So you're making that money, for every single view that you get on your video. So it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. And people, I think for some reason think that, you could have a 1 million subscriber channel and you get 10,000 views a video, you're not making any money. It just doesn't do anything for you. So I'd much rather have a very loyal audience and my ultimate goal is to start building much more of a community, people that are kind of in the know and feel like they know each other. And it's a tight-knit group of people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did with Saltstrom.
Absolutely.
And that was never the plan, though. It's the funny part.
Interesting.
Like we never in a million years in our first 2 years would have said, oh, this is going to be a club. And now it is a club and a community. We were just out there like you, just having fun, doing fishing tips, and we're all about education. And then all of a sudden it became like a club. And then we saw people making friendships out of it. Yeah. Like good friendships that we had nothing to do with, except we built the platform to connect them. We're like, man, this is really cool. It's been really, really, really neat for us. Yeah, I would highly encourage you to keep pursuing that. So on the fishing side, are you just Florida now? Like, what is the big goal over the next year or two?
So one of the reasons that I told myself I wanted to do this is because I wanted to do something that, I guess let me back up. Back in college, I would ask some of the incoming pledges to our fraternity. I would ask them all one question. I'm going to have them email me a response. I would ask them, if money were no object, what would you spend your life doing? And my thought process was always, I'm trying to get one of them to think outside the box of terms of they're all pretty much engineers. And they would typically all say, oh, I would do exactly as I'm doing. And I know they're all lying to themselves. I would probably say 15, 20% actually really wanted to be engineers. The rest of them, that's either their parents, their parents' words or someone else's words. They've been told their entire life that, they need to get good grades in high school, get good grades in college, which I did both of those in order to get a good job so you can have a nice family. And then you can work for 40 years and then retire with your 401k. And then you can finally have fun when you're 65. Yeah.
Then you'll finally be happy.
Yeah, and I know happiness is fleeting, but for me, I want people to do things in life that excite them, and it helps them reach the best version of themselves, right? So that's kind of what I want to do things that excite me, do things that are interesting. So fishing wise, right now I'm at a point in life, no kids, not married. I want to be able to travel a lot, see a lot, do the cool things that almost seemed unattainable to me back in high school, right? Yeah. I wasn't a huge dreamer. I knew I was going to be a successful person because, I was always good at getting good grades, had a job, I could balance things. I was fairly confident in my ability to be successful, right, as an adult. But for me, the next level of that is being successful in something that you actually enjoy and actually want to pursue. So that's where I'm at now.
All right. So I'm going back to this fraternity thing.
Mm-hmm.
What was your answer back then? If someone had asked?
You know, believe it or not, it actually was this thing that I'm doing right now. It was like,
Really?
I would want to be able to fish around the world and, you know, make a lot of money at it and do a bunch of different things.
That's so cool.
But what's so hilarious is at that time, I knew my good buddy Victor was making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
He wasn't making any money from it back then.
Because he was an early bird on the whole scene. Yeah.
Yes. But, you know, no one knew what a fishing YouTube video was or a YouTuber was back then by any means. But I didn't connect the dots at all. And I didn't allow myself to dream that. It was like, oh, that's an awesome dream. I'm going to go get this job and, you know, work a couple of years and buy my house and buy my nice car and all that.
So, man, that's fascinating. On the YouTube side of things, is that the ultimate goal? Because every time I meet people like you and these content creators, you have to keep creating content for it. It's a machine, right? You have to keep creating content to build it up and keep the momentum going. Is there a way to pivot? Like, did you ever get in apparel? We talked on your video that you did, and it was one of the worst mistakes we did. It's like, oh, hey, it was a money grab, right? It was like, hey, here's another way for us to make money, and we regretted it. But is like in the YouTube world, what else? What would be next? Do you think?
So for me, I think at least our parents' generation was locked into the mentality that you have to do the same thing for your entire life, right? Like you work a job and you work it until you retire and you're very happy that you have that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense for, you know, if you think their parents, they were just happy to have a job because their parents grew up during, you know, World War II, Great Recession, all those times where there weren't jobs to go around. So that all makes sense. And we're blessed to be in a time where you can do what you want to make money at it. My thought is I'm going to enjoy this for what it is now, but I don't think I want to be on camera forever, right? I think maybe if I was guesstimating 5-10 years, maybe longer, just because I think I'm going to reach a point where making the videos gets repetitive and gets stale to me. And I think people will still want to watch them, and that's okay. I may not want to make them anymore. And then once I lose that passion for it, I want to pursue another passion that excites me. So for me, I really see myself kind of moving into some type of business, and I couldn't give you a good answer on what that is right now. I've never been a person that's like attracted to sales. So it'll be a tough thing for me, maybe building a team with someone that's a little bit stronger on that sales side and that management side. And I can be on more of the creative marketing side makes sense. I don't really know, but definitely diving into the business world that may not even be fishing, to tell you the truth. Because I don't know, that like there's just a lot bigger industries out there. So we will see. I think I definitely want to leverage the following that I'm building now, and leverage the community of people that like believe in me now, and build that into, you know, lures, rods, apparel, all sorts of different things in the fishing community, and then maybe build something else. Like, who knows, you know, beers, energy drinks, all these types of things. But building things that I can be proud of and, you know, be happy that I did make. If that makes sense.
Did you hear that, InBev? Beers.
Absolutely.
I love it, dude. All right, so I got a question on the Pier side of things. Because we've been friends with Joey Antonelli for a long time. And we got close a few times of like doing like a Pier Fishing how-to series. And Joey, like, he went through a tough time, like truck gets keyed and stuff. And he's like, we can't do this. Like, we're going to get our tire slashed and get killed. Talk through this Pier stuff. I'm fascinated by it because I grew up like you. We would fish in Daytona Beach with our grandfather. I told you offline, I had a place and we go down there and fish some of those piers. And it was great. But all of a sudden now you have these YouTubers with their fancy cameras and they're, you know, exposing spots or whatever. And it can be violent in some cases.
Absolutely.
Do you ever go down there to the like Juno Pier anywhere and film anymore?
So I film most places that like most of those type spots, right? So I do the Juno Pier videos, the Sebastian Inlet videos, and unfortunately, this will always be a thing in fishing, and it's just fishing. There is a community to it compared to other communities. In my opinion, the fishing community kind of sucks, and I'll tell you why. We will always have a scarcity mindset as fishermen because fish are limited, right? And we've all been on the water and seen, oh, that guy's fishing my spot. I'm not going to catch any fish. And there's just like an automatic anger. And we are very tribal too. Like even today, we had a group of people that we all know. And I know on my boat, I was inciting all sorts of just like hatred. I'm like, screw the other boats, screw the kayakers. We're catching the fish. Team Spanish Mackerel is like laying it down. Of course, we didn't catch much of anything. But there's a scarcity mindset with fishermen that I think is just, it's going to be like that with fishermen in total. Man, I lost my train of thought. Where were we?
No, we're talking about just the hatred.
Oh, the pier fishermen. Yeah. So pier fishermen are definitely like their own breed too, right? And you have, you definitely have a type of person that like, I guess, likes pier fishing that probably aren't the best people in the world, if that makes sense. And they definitely give other guys that like to fish the pier a bad rap. Yeah. But there's just a fine balancing act, right? And there's certain spots and there's only so many of those spots and there's certain techniques.
Back to your scarcity, right?
Yeah.
Out here behind us, you guys can't see this, but we have water as far as we can see it. We know it's going out there. When you're on a pier, it is scarcity. Like there's only so many spots you can fish.
Absolutely.
It's intense, dude. Like
absolutely. And there's a certain type of person, and you will see things in videos of pier fishermen that you would never imagine a fisherman could do.
Yeah.
And unless you grew up in that environment, you won't understand why it's happening or like how a person can be like that.
Yeah.
And people like see me in my videos all the time. I think I'm probably like the most polite pier fisherman in terms of, I'm hooked up to like 120-pound tarpon. I'm like, excuse me, coming through, over you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And people get so mad in the comments. They're like, if you would have said something like that to me, I would have never moved and punched you in the face. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. But
you're a keyboard warrior.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's just the thing. And there's a certain type of person and certain character that develops in the pier anglers. Yeah. But I would say that's the minority, and it's a loud minority, just like online, how, you know, everyone thinks we're all divided in this country and we're all divided everywhere in the world. It's really a loud minority, and the 80% are really in the middle, and we're all just trying to have a good time. And I'm a guy that grew up fishing both of those places, and I've never had any animosity at any of those places. So
not face to face, you mean?
No, not face to face. It's pretty much only online. Yeah. So it's just definitely tough, and there's definitely an issue with people coming in and kind of getting in the way of the locals. And there's just like a certain respect thing that a lot of the locals feel like they deserve because they fish there all the time. And other people don't necessarily respect that. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting hearing from Bama Beach Bum and Angler Up a Brand and Bearded Brad, who are all kind of up in that panhandle area near each other. And they're like, yeah, like, I just assume they're like the most popular guys in town, and you know, people are coming up and want to take pictures with them. Like, man, a lot of like the people in our hometown don't like us.
Oh yeah,
because in their mind, back to your point, the scarcity is like, oh man, they're bringing all these anglers over here and they're exposing our spots. It's really interesting,
and that's tough too. And I see that thought process there, and I've had it myself, and I've struggled with it myself sometimes.
Yep.
Where's the line of like, how much information do I want to share? Because it's not even my information sometimes. Sometimes it's something that I learned from someone else. I guess almost everything is something that I've learned from someone else.
But everything that anyone's
learned is from someone else.
For the most part.
Exactly. So I struggle with that too. But I've also been doing this whole social media YouTube thing long enough. I did the era of Instagram where we blacked out every inch of your snook picture, like someone was going to go there and catch that exact snook. And now I've been doing it so long that it's like, you have someone say, oh my God, you blew up that spot. And I go back to that spot literally a dozen times, and not one person is fishing that dock. Right. Like, people drive by me, not one person is fishing that bridge. Yeah. And they all know it's there. Oh, but it's if you know that bridge, you already knew it was there. You already knew how the fish sit. I didn't teach you anything. And even if I did teach you something, you might not even be able to go there and catch fish. There's like no replacement for experience at all. Yeah. So it's just, I understand why people get mad, and I feel for them. And there's just, I think people think YouTubers take it a little bit more lightly than they do. I definitely, like, I'm a fisherman first before I'm a YouTuber, and I definitely think about the actions that I do before I film them and put them on the internet, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's good. And so where do you live now?
I'm in Sebastian, Florida now. Okay. Yep.
Love it?
No, I wouldn't say I loved it. The fishing's good. Oh, yeah. In terms of like,
neat area.
Yeah. Anything to do around there other than fish, there's not much. It's kind of quiet, kind of little. My girlfriend's 45 minutes north of me, and everyone else that I grew up fishing with and everyone else that I know is an hour south.
Got it.
So I'm always driving, put a lot of miles on the truck. And that's probably not where I'll settle, but I live in there right now just because I have a kind of decent little setup with a good friend of mine.
Cool.
So I don't mind it.
Cool. All right. So where's the next big trip?
That's a good question. I don't have
Nothing
anything
lined up.
Going back to Panama again
Nice.
in May, possibly
what are you targeting?
February. My goal is to catch a giant cubera snapper on a giant popper on a topwater. That's like the pinnacle of that fishery. And I would say I would, put them up against pretty much any fish pound for pound on like pure strength and pulling power. And to catch one of those fish on a topwater is next level. I had one shot at a fish that was probably only like a 20-pound class fish.
Yeah.
The last time I was there, like a 40-pounder came up on my popper, was waking it. I popped it twice. He waked it, and then he went down. We're like, he's gone. And I popped it again, and a smaller fish shot to the surface, grabbed the popper. I set into him 3 or 4 times. We're fishing like 30, 40 pounds of drag, like almost as tight as, like a Daiwa Saltiga will go. And I'm like, I have to step down from the deck because I'm worried I might start sliding.
Yeah.
But the fish never really pulled drag. So that also tells me it wasn't a giant fish. And then he pulled off. But the goal when you go there is species, like a bunch of different species that you can't catch. So big cuberas, rooster fish. I got a rooster fish over 40 pounds. I was there last time. Victor got a fish over 50 pounds.
So cool.
And then things like mullet snapper, bluefin trevally, what are they called? It's a specific type of grouper that I can't think of right now off the top of my head, but broomtail grouper.
Okay.
So bunch of cool different species that I want to do there. That whole popping and jigging scene is something I'm just really getting into, but I'm just really excited to keep learning about.
You guys have some cubera in Sebastian Inlet.
Oh yeah,
like
they're there. They're in Jupiter. Pretty much any inlet on the East Coast has them. They're just a fish that you have to have some skill and like some experience in targeting, and you have to put the time in.
Or you get incredibly lucky. We got a guy named Barrett. Dude's not even a fisherman at all.
Nice.
And we're just kind of doing little drifts through the Sebastian Inlet. And dude, he brings up this Mondo cubera.
Excellent.
And he's like, "Is this good? Is this a good fish?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, you got to be kidding me. Never caught one in my entire life."
Wow.
Just absolute luck.
My first one ever came in Jupiter Inlet. I think I was like 15, 16.
Really?
So I was getting into fishing, and I'm fishing a Rapala X-Trap, size 14, I think greenback on it. And I'm just like kind of working it back and forth, giving it that like hard fast because I could get snook on that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I get hit, and I think I have probably like a 45-inch snook. The thing is brawling. And then I get rocked. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it was like only a 7-pound cubera. Like this thing was not that big at all.
Strong.
And it pulled every bit as hard as a 40-inch snook. Got it up, and I was, wow, this is amazing. And I got it on a plug, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
but
awesome, man.
I'm looking for one of those 40-pound class fish in the next year.
So cool. Cool. All right. Well, tell everyone where they can go follow you, subscribe.
Yeah.
If you're into fishing.
Absolutely.
If you made it this far, you have to be. So.
Absolutely. You guys can find me at Ryan Morie on YouTube, Ryan _ Morie on Instagram and TikTok, and then Ryan Morie Outdoors on Facebook. So I'm on all of those, constantly on the computer. People think I fish a lot more than I do.
Right.
I fish, maybe 4 to 6 times a month, and I'm on my computer doing this,
I'm the same.
clicking, editing, trying to make as much content as I can these days. But it's a grind, and I have a big appreciation for everything you guys are doing.
And we hear it all the time, dude. Oh, Salt Strong, you must fish every day. I'm like, no. I'm lucky if it's once a week.
A tackle shop owner told me a long time ago, if you want to fish all the time, don't get into the fishing industry.
Get a different job and fish on the weekend.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Well, brother, thank you so much.
Yeah,
This
man.
has been awesome.
Yeah, really nice.
Any chance you're going to win a belt here?
I would say no.
Okay,
just based on the thunder and lightning. I got my Spanish mackerel. I got a very awesome video brewing, and we got some awesome college football on. But I don't think a belt for me this weekend. I'll just leave that to everyone else. I'm just trying to be nice right now.
You got to be fair. Now.
Exactly.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Guys, appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe to Mr. Ryan. Even on TikTok. We don't like to promote TikTok on here, but even on TikTok. How is that going for you, TikTok?
TikTok, I just see as an investment in the future.
Okay.
For sure. It's where the young generation is right now. I'm already making short form content for Instagram. So I started posting on TikTok, and that's where virality is.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, no one thought Facebook was going to be a thing. No one thought Instagram was going to be a thing.
True.
And all those young kids are going to grow up one day.
That's
so
right.
I try and learn as much as I can.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. We out. Pow!
See ya.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was